Hello viewers. So finally we are starting the project in our project database training. So in today's class we are creating the database for accounting management system. In this system we are manage all the normal activities, means the daily activities, monthly activities of any small business by using this project. So let's create the database. So now open the SQL Server Management Studio. Once the SQL Server is open, go to the browse for more and select your SQL Server and click OK and then connect to SQL Server. So now right click on the database. Right click on the database and click on the new database. And write the name of your database, accounting MGTDB. Yeah, project base accounting MGTDB. And now provide the location where you want to save your database. So we need to create the folder for storing your projects. So now go to this PC. Now go to the PC personal data and then create the locations, create the folder where you want to save your data, your project. So project base session June to July. Accounting project. Now open and create more two subfolders. The one is the database and the second one is application. And this folder in this folder we have a database, and this folder we are storing our application. So now copy, open the database folder and copy the path and go to the SQL Server and then also save here. And now add here also the data, means in this file storing the data, and this file you store the database log, means inserting, updating, anything which is doing inside the database. So here store the log of those activities. So now click on the OK button. So now you will get the database on your selected locations. So the database is created successfully. So open the SQL Server and click on the new query. Close the new query. Go to your database. This one is the database. So click on this icon, plus icon, or first refresh this. Now right click and refresh. Okay, so now the project based accounting management. Open your database, click on the table, right click on the table and create the table. First we are create the tables in which we are maintain the stock categories. So first create the table in which we are maintain the stock categories. So now category ID and then provide the data type and it's the not null. So category name and n-word chart and the size is category size is 150 character and also check it's not null. Uncheck the allowed null checkbox and now click here and it's marked as a primary key and also yes. So now right click and save the category table and click on OK button. Then right click on the table and then create the table for stock. So stock product ID and then product name. Before the product name, first you are at the category ID. Okay, so now this name and this data type is must be same the foreign key. All the properties of foreign key must be matched to the primary key properties. Okay, so now product title, we are simply write the name of products. So now name and varchar 150, then name product name or then expiry date, manufacture date, MVC date, manufacture date, expiry date, EXP date, expiry date, and then the quantity, and then the purchase unit price, for float, and then the sale unit price and float, and also here the description and varchar 300 and click on the product ID, mark as a primary key, write primary key and then go to the identity specifications and also create the and so mark as a identity column. Now right click and the product table and then click on the OK button. Okay, and then create the relationship between this table and this table. So now right click relationship and click on the add button, go to the journal and inside the table and column specifications. So here we are define both the table, the primary key table and the foreign key table. So now click on this browse button. This is the front of table and column specification. So now click on this browse button and select first the primary key table. So the primary key table is a category table. So click on the category tables and then select the primary key column and primary key table and then select the foreign key column inside the foreign key table and now click on the OK button and then close and right click and save the product table. Okay, so the stock tables are created successfully. So now create the customer tables. So customer, but before the customer we are creating the supplier tables. So now create a table for supplier. Supplier ID, first create the supplier ID, and then integer supplier name. Supplier name means like a Pepsi dealer's name. These are a supplier, and char, and then 150, and then the contact number of supplier, so and char and 20, address and char and 300, um, address, and then the contact number, address and description, or maybe email address and char, emails maybe 150, mark is allowed, okay, and also name, address must be provided, okay. So the description and char and step 300, and now mark it as a primary key, and now select it and check the mark is also as an identity column. So now right click and save the supplier tab and click the OK button. Okay, so supplier table is created. So now create the customer table. So now the customer ID, integer, and then the customer name, and varchar 150. Customer may be a shopkeeper or persons. These both are counting in a customer. Here we are counting these both in a customer in this project. So the contact number and varchar 20. It's not necessary. Okay, so it's allowed, mark as a allowed. The contact number, email address 150, and then the address, the customer are many types, so that's why we are mark these three columns as allowed null. So now click on the customer ID and click the is mark as a primary key, and also mark as a identity column. So go to the identity specification and click on as a yes. Save and customer table. Enter the name of this table is a customer table. So click on the OK button. So the customer table is created successfully. So now here we are creating the purchase table. So the purchase table, okay. So now create the purchase. So purchase ID, integer, purchase invoice number, and varchar. Before the purchase number, enter the supplier ID, and then the purchase invoice number, or remove this and invoice number, and then varchar 150. Invoice number are customly generated. We are creating the invoice number on the user interface, which is currently year, day, month, day, time, minute, second, and then provide the unique number. This is the invoice number. So now supplier ID, invoice number, purchase date. Here is the date. Purchase date, total amount, float, total amount. And now also provide the total amount field, default value is 0. Okay, and mark is not entered now. Okay, so right click and so also mark the purchase ID as a primary key, and click on the as a identity. So now right click and enter the name of this table is purchase table. Here we are manage all the purchases header. Okay, so click on the OK button, and now right click and create the purchase detail table. So purchase detail ID, remove this S, detail ID integer, and in the purchase ID and product ID, purchase quantity, purchase unit price, okay. So now mark the purchase detail is yes, and also mark is a uh, primary key. So now also the defined here the okay, let's leave it. So now right click and enter the name is detail purchase detail table, and now click on the OK button and create the relationship. So now first create here the relations. So right click on the relations, and then go to the table and column specifications browse button, and select the primary key one, so the supplier ID, and then select the primary key, and also select the foreign key from foreign key table, and now click on the OK button, close, right click and save the changes. Right click and save the changes. Now go to the purchase detail table. So right click and also create the relationship also here. So now go to here and select the purchase header. So select the primary key, which is the purchase ID, and also here the purchase ID, and then click OK. And now create the another one relationship between the product table and purchase detail table. So select the primary key table, which is the product table, and select the primary key from the product table, the product ID, and also select the foreign key from the foreign key table, which is product ID, and OK, and then close and right click and save the changes. Okay, so the purchases tables are created successfully. So now go to create the sale invoices table or sale tables. So right click, go to the table and create the sale ID, integer, customer ID, customer name, customer ID, invoice number, invoice char 150, and then sale date, and also the total amount. Float amount, and now select this column and default value is 0. Select this one, mark as a primary key and also as a identity, and then right click and create the relationship between these two tables. So now go to and click on the browse button and select the primary key one is the primary key table is a customer table. So select the customer ID and also select here the customer ID and click OK button, close and right click and provide the name of this table, which is a sale table, and now click on the OK button. So the sale table is also created successfully. So now create the sale detail tables, and which we are manage in detail table we are manage the invoice detail. These are the invoice header and the invoice detail are managed in this table, means in the sale detail tables. So sale detail ID integer, and then the sale detail ID integer, uh, sale ID, sorry, sale ID, and then product ID integer, and then sale unit price float, and sale quantity. And mark as a primary key, go to the and mark also as an identity specification, and right click and create the relationship between the sale detail and sale table. So sale table, click on the sale ID and then go to the foreign key table and select the foreign key column. Okay, and also add the relationship between product table and sale detail ID, sale detail table. So product ID, close and right click and enter the name of this table is a sale detail table and click the OK button. So these the purchasing and selling side tables, all tables are created successfully. So now create the expenses table. So right click, but before the expenses, okay, create the expenses. So expenses category, so exp category ID, expenses category ID, or and is the expenses category name and voucher, 100. Move this checks, click on this, and also check here is a identity specification. Right click and save expense category table and click the OK button. So right click and expenses, so the expenses category, and then create the expenses header table. So expenses ID integer, uh, expense category ID, and also the expense title, expenses reason, expenses reason. My spelling is too weak, so kindly manage your these spellings. So now provide the data types. So expense reasons is the inward char 300, and also the total amount of expenses, inward sorry float, and also the invoice number, inward char 150. Select the expenses ID as a primary key, and now ID specifications, and then yes, then right click here and create the relationship between expenses category and the expenses table. So the expenses category, select the ID and also select the foreign key column. So close, right click and enter the expenses table. So now right click and add the expenses detail table. So right click in this tab, so expenses detail ID, item name, sorry, item name. First here the expenses ID. Sorry, we are first we are remove this expenses category. Okay, so now right click and remove this category. We are creating the, we are add this category here. Okay, so now item expense category ID integer, and now the item name and varchar 150, and then item cost float, and also the expense date. Right click and show the changes and expenses table, and then item cost, item name and the cost of expenses. So right click, first check where as a expenses detail ID as a primary column, primary key, and then also as a identity specification, and then create the relationship between the expenses category, means expenses detail and expenses category table. So the expenses category, select the primary key column and the foreign key column, and close and right click, and expenses detail table and click the OK button. And also item cost mark, the default value is 0. So right click and save the changes. Okay, so okay, so close the expenses table is also created successfully. Right click and refresh, and these tables are created successfully. Now going to create the accounting tables. So right click and create the accounting tables. So now account header ID integer, account, remove this header, title, sorry, varchar 150. In this table we are storing the assets, liabilities, expenses, revenues, storing in this table. All the headers are storing in this table. So now remove the uncheck, the check, and head ID, right click, save accounting head table, accounts head table, click primary key and also the printed specification. So yes, right click and save the changes. Right click and create the controls tables. So header, control ID. In this table we are manage the sub account, means asset sub accounts, liability sub accounts, expenses sub accounts, revenue sub accounts, capital sub accounts, like assets like petty cash, cash in the bank, cash on hand. So we are manage all the sub accounts inside this table. So head ID, and this head ID identify the accounts which is assets, liabilities, and so on. So head ID control account title account title, head title, so here the control title, and the char 150 is to increase to 250, and then the account title head ID now let me check the another database. It's the cloud ERP. Here is the cloud ERP. Open this and table, and you are checking the head with the column and the head. Okay, but okay, these columns are enough. Now remove this, but these are enough. This is the control and this is the account head. Okay, so now right click and save the table with the control accounts tab or head control tables, and click the OK buttons. Now mark this as a primary key and also as a yes. And then right click and create the relationship between the head and control accounts table. So go to the browse button, select the head table. Here is the head table. Account head. Select the head ID, sorry, and control titles, sorry, head ID. Okay, close, right click and save the changes. So these are the tables in which we are manage the account and sub accounts and sub accounts. So now right click and create the table for manage the transactions, means their debit and credit history, means the journals, the journal entries. So now create the create the transactions here we are getting the screen current bit rate lower than the recommended. Okay, well, this next video and next lecture. So create the transaction, so transaction ID, sorry, transaction ID, integer, head account ID, head ID, head control account ID. So now copy the control ID, integer, and also invoice number, invoice char 150, and then the credit, float, and debit. Float, these are the head account and control account and invoice number, and credit and debit, and transaction date. Date, time. Okay, let me check in the cloud ERP. Yes, how many fields are required for this transaction table. So let me check. Okay, the one table are missing, which is the financial year and the transaction title. Okay, so financial year and transaction title. So now first create the financial year table. So go to and financial year ID in integer, and then financial year title and varchar 250. And this is the starting date of financial year, and this is the end date of financial year. And here is the status of financial year, means the financial year are active or not active. The active financial year is the current year of the business, and the deactive years means these are the previous years of the business. The showing them means these are the previous. So status and bet. So click this and mark you say this is 0. It's by default it's a false. So now click this, select the primary as a primary key and go to identity specification and click on the yes. Okay, so now right click, save financial year tab, and then click on the OK button. Okay, then copy the copy the financial year ID and then paste here, and then integer, also the transaction title and varchar 300. Here we are adding the transaction narration. In the transaction title we are adding the transaction narration. So financial year ID and the financial year ID and transaction title are added. So now this is the invoice number. Invoice number are all the means the expenses invoice number. It's showing the transactions, means this transaction is against the transaction. Through this invoice ID, we are identify the transactions behavior, means why they are credit and why they are debit, and what type of transaction here is done, means the sale invoice, purchase invoice, expenses, salaries, and so on. So right click, first mark is as a primary key, and then go to the identity specification, yes, and then right click and create the relationship between all these. So add, and then go to the relationship. First we add the with the head table, so we call header. Select the head ID and then also the head ID. Okay, and close. Sorry, right click and create another one. Press on the add button, go to the counter, hit control, select the control ID and then go to and control ID. Okay, create another one which is a financial between the financial year. So financial year ID and also the financial year ID. Okay button and close. Right click and save the changes. Here is the transaction table, and then click on the OK button. So the relationship, all the relationships are created successfully here. So now right click and refresh your database. So now right click and create the diagram for this database. So click on the database diagram and add all the tables. Now the not responding is finished. So now close, and then expenses ID. Okay, now where is the expenses? Okay, also one column are missing inside the expenses detail, which is the expenses ID. So now copy the expenses ID and go to the expenses detail, go to the design of this table and add the column here, integer, and right click and save the changes. Go to a diagram and create the relationship between these column, these tables. Okay, and then okay and right click and save the changes. Sorry, right click and save the changes. Enter the ERD name. This is the ERD of our database. So ERD diagram. Okay, so this is the database in which we are manage the small business activities inside the accounting rules. Means their financial year, income statement, profit and loss, balance sheets, trial balance, ledgers, transactions, current day sale, return sale, and so on. So now these are the sale and purchase. So now create the sale return tables and purchase return. So go to and right click and create the table for purchase return and sale return. Okay, so right click. Okay, let me take a 5 minutes break and then we are start again. Okay, so going to the comments. Uh, Here we are a group of students of video center, Abdullah Mazid, and Muhammad Arshid, Hani Wali Secondary, doing West African Hospital, Muslim, and the word of the video cancer welcome. Okay, in case of any questions you are on, going to the WhatsApp group and type your questions, okay? And also you will type your questions in the comments. I will answer you. Okay, any questions type in comments. I'm waiting. We okay, 4 minutes. Any question? Okay, type your question in the comments and chat. Otherwise, we will start after 3 minutes. Again, the implementing the purchase return and the sale return means creating the tables of these two. So it means you have a no question. So let's get start again and create for sale return tables. So right click and here the sale return ID, sale return ID, sale ID, customer ID, sale return date, return total amount, invoice number, invoice chart, and 150. And click on this, the sale return ID, mark as a primary key and also mark as a identity specification column. Now right click and create the relationship. So go to here and now click on this browse button and select the primary key table, which is the sale table, and now select the sale ID and also here select the sale ID and then click OK. Then create another one which creates relationship so between the customer and sale return table. So customer is customer table, customer ID and customer ID, and then OK, close, right click and save the table, sale return table, and click the OK button. Okay, so now right click and create the sale return detail table. So click here and sale return detail tab ID, and then the sale return ID integer, and also the sale return. Okay, so here is the product ID. Open the sale detail table, product ID integer, return quantity integer, and return unit price float, and also the reason, return reason. Reason and voucher 50, and then mark as a alumni. Click, mark as a primary key. Select as a specification. Yes, right click and save. Sale return detail table, and then click on the OK button. Okay, right click here, click on the relationship and add sale return ID. So now select on the browse button, sale return. So go to the sale return table. Sale return table, select the primary key column, which is the sale return ID, and select the foreign key column. So okay, then select the product. So go and select the product table, product ID, and also select the product ID. Okay, close, right click and save the changes. So it's done. So now right click and create also the purchase return tables. So purchase return ID integer, purchase return ID, and then the purchase ID, supplier ID, purchase return date, return total amount, and invoice number 150. Select this, mark as a primary key, and then identity specification, mark as a yes. Right click and create the relationship between purchase table and purchase return. So click here, purchase table, so select the purchase ID, and also here purchase ID, click OK. Now add another one, so the purchase, and also the supplier table, so select the supplier ID, and also here select the supplier ID. Okay, close, right click and save the changes, save the table, purchase return table, and click the OK button. Okay, so now the purchase return table is created successfully. So right click and add the purchase return detail table. So detail purchase return detail ID integer, purchase return ID integer, product ID, return quantity, return unit price, sorry, float, and return reason. Chart 50, and also mark as a element. Select this as a primary key, and identity specification is yes. Right click and save with purchase return detail table, and click on the OK button. Right click and create the relationship of this table with purchase return table, product and product table. So add, and now click here and select the purchase return table, select the ID of purchase return, and also select the purchase return ID also. So now select this and select the product table, primary key table, select the primary key, and then select the foreign key. Okay, so okay, close, right click and save the changes. So the purchase return table mean the purchase returns tables are created successfully. So now close and go to the diagram and check. Right click and add these tables also. So okay. So that is the diagram of our projects. So in this project we are doing all these tasks: purchase return, purchase, sale return, sales, expenses, salaries. All of these we will done in this projects. Okay, the one thing is another, which is accounts activities. So any okay, we will discuss the account activities in later sessions, but in here we have done the project, we have done the database of our small business accounting management system, which manage the activities of any small business, means the selling, purchasing, expenses, your salaries, and so on. In the time of being, we will create the users. Once it will finish, then we will doing the user setting in this project. So the database is completed successfully. So please subscribe our YouTube channel, and also like, share, and comments. And thanks, and see you in next video.